got 2 pounds of black-eyed peas, and what we're doing with these black-eyed peas, so today we have about 2 pounds of black-eyed peas, and what we're doing with this is we're making a very authentic Nigerian dish called AKARA. Very yummy, and it's made with very little ingredients. Not a lot, right? Maybe 3 or 4 things?
Maybe 4.
Yeah, and right now what we're doing is we're pretty much cleaning the peas. As you can see, we still have some separation going on, which is what we want. We want all of these to come off, or the most of them to come off. So we're gonna just transfer this to a wider bowl so we can kind of work with the beans. They almost look like mini cashews, but yeah. Let's get started. So you can break these apart like this if you want. Rub them. What you're trying to get off will float to the top once you have enough water inside. You might lose a few, but that's alright. And you can use warm water at this stage since we're going to be cooking these today. So warm water to help get them off is not a problem. And as you can see, once there's enough water, you can kind of tell. And that's what we want to get rid of. So we'll just keep doing that until we have a lot of these. So, it's been 24 hours since we've soaked the beans, and to get the process going faster, we rub the beans together after the first day. And what this does, it helps these guys to come off, which is what we're looking for. So this being the outer layer of the black-eyed peas, and you want those to come off so that way when you actually make the AKARA, you get this nice even color, and we don't get this additional, because this right here is pretty hard, and when we're blending, that will interfere with the texture of the AKARA. So we're gonna rub these together gently. And it's okay if you break the beans because we're gonna puree this anyway, so it doesn't matter. So you take it out of the fridge after 24 hours, you rinse out the beans, so you just pretty much empty out the water. And as you're emptying, you're gonna get rid of these pieces here because we don't need those. So once you got rid of those, put the beans back in. These can go away, and then we add fresh water. And we kind of just repeat the process. And once we're done rubbing as much as we can, since all of them are not ready, we pretty much just let it sit again for another 24 hours. And tomorrow we will be able to finish making the AKARA all the way through. Satisfied with how much we have cleaned the black-eyed peas, and by cleaning we mean getting rid of that outer skin so we can head to the next step, which is the blending. Now we don't need as much of this water in here, so we're going to just kind of pour it off. You want to be very careful. We have the chilies, garlic, and onions. Once they start releasing the flavor that we're looking for and they start frying up, we're going to take them out of the oil so we can have only oil to fry our AKARA with. So now, we don't want to add all the peas into the blender right now because that will create way too much work for the blender and you will not get the consistency that we're looking for. So I would do this in about 3 batches, right? So let's do Yep, that's about right. So we're gonna start this just to kind of see. Now with the water, if you look at the peas right now, the water is almost as high as the peas, so which is good. So we want that because this is our initial blending. So we're definitely gonna be adding more peas to this. So we're not worried about the water consistency at this moment. Alright? So we're gonna turn this bad boy on and we're gonna puree this thing. That we started just to give us something to work with. So now we're gonna get the flavoring of the AKARA, which is the most important part, right? So these are Maggi or Nor cubes or bouillon cubes. So we're gonna put 2 of these into a little pot, right? And then we're gonna add about, let's say, a cup of water, right? And we're gonna bring this to a boil to dissolve the cubes. So right now, as you can see, the aromatics are kind of caramelizing, and that's what we're looking for.
It smells amazing.
Right? So all this flavor pretty much goes right into the oil, so then anything that's fried in this oil going forward will just have a really beautiful smell, aroma, also really great flavor. So now, we've gotten what we want from the aromatics, so we are pretty much giving them an exit so we can have only oil to fry our AKARA with. So we pretty much bring this up to a boil and dissolve the bouillon cubes that we added to it. This way we know that the seasoning from the cube gets evenly distributed throughout the AKARA mixture. Right? So the other key part to the AKARA is actually adding fresh onions and a little bit of chilies depending on how spicy you like your AKARA to be. And you want to be careful with the onions that you add, because once they're pureed, they pretty much turn into water. So that also adds to the consistency of your AKARA, and a lot of people don't think about it, but if you're adding a lot of onions, you don't want to add a lot of water because you will have a very loose AKARA batter. These guys, they are super hot, so we're gonna be very careful with how we use this. So we're gonna...
That's a tiny one.
It is, but very powerful.
I can imagine.
So we're gonna go with half for now, right? And just leave it here. And if our mix is not spicy enough, then we can add.
Yes.
So the rest of the beans, and we want to make sure that we don't have any of this water. So we're gonna go drain this. Okay, so all the beans are going in. So let's blend this and see what kind of consistency we have. So this looks pretty good, right? So now we're gonna get rid of this into a bowl so we can blend the onions and the chilies, right? Onions go right into the same blender, right? And then we're gonna add the half of chili, right? And that one. Since we don't have any liquid in here, we're gonna just add our dissolved bouillon to this, and this is gonna help with the puree. So we're gonna just do a little. Maybe a little more. Okay. And we're gonna cover this up and blend it. So we want to check the salt and we want to check the heat. So we would literally just taste, and based on your preference, you'll know if you want to add more bouillon cubes, more salt, or more chilies. Now we have a mix of the Maggi liquid with the onions, the chilies, and the black peas, I should say. Alright, so checking to see if the oil is ready. It's been on low in the back, so we're gonna just add a little drop and see what happens. Yep, oil's ready. Yes, we wanted to make sure that the oil was ready and also that we actually had a good product. So I think from the looks of it, the puffiness, the crunch on the outside, that we are
Break it apart.
going in the right direction. Oh yeah, I think we're spongy. Yes.
We're good to go.
We're good to go. About a tablespoon, and you don't want to drop them where there's already one. At a good temperature, medium heat, medium flames, so that way there's enough heat to cook them. Otherwise they will not puff up. So oil should be about 375 degrees for the proper frying. So you end up with these little puffy things. You don't want the oil too hot because then they'll get too dark on the outside before they actually cook on the inside. Medium flame, yeah. But once the oil, you have to get the oil to the temperature first. And once the oil is at that temperature, then you bring the flame down to keep it at a certain temperature, right? Yeah. You don't want to keep it at full flame the entire length of your frying because they'll burn before they actually cook on the inside. Thank you kindly.